Hey, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're strapping in for what might be one of the most fundamental shifts we've seen in developer tooling in years.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going deep on Google Antigravity, or AGY. And our sources for this are from a recent developer transcript, really detailing its launch and philosophy.
That's right. And this isn't just about, small improvements to the AI assistants we already have. It's a complete rethink of the software development lifecycle.
Right.
The sources, they lay out a roadmap for an agent platform that's designed not just to write a bit of code, but to run and orchestrate entire complex engineering projects.
So our mission today is to figure out how anti-gravity moves us past that era of, let's call it glorified autocomplete, the basic Copilot days.
Into true orchestration.
Exactly, into high-level task orchestration.
Yeah.
So the big question for this whole deep dive is, what specific capabilities does AGY, built on Gemini 3, actually introduce that fundamentally change how we build complex software? And, maybe more importantly, what's the new job description for the human developer?
It really is a whole new paradigm. I think we should start with the TLDR on what anti-gravity actually is.
Let's do it.
Okay, so at its core, it's an agent development platform. It's engineered specifically to take, maximal advantage of these new models, the ones that can run for longer and longer with less human intervention.
That phrase right there, longer and longer with less human intervention, that feels like the core differentiator.
It is.
So what are the components that actually enable that? Because it has to be more than just a code editor with a chat window stuck on the side.
Oh, absolutely. There are three core components that really set AGY apart. First, you still have the familiar IDE editor. Developers need that. They need to be able to inspect and control the final output.
Of course.
Second, and this is where the orchestration really kicks in, is the agent manager. Think of it as the coordination layer that lets you orchestrate many, many agents working at the same time.
Many agents, concurrently. Okay, hold on. That sounds complex. I mean, managing parallel processes like that introduces huge challenges with state management, right? How do you stop agents from stepping on each other's toes?
That is a super critical engineering question. And the source material points out that the agent manager is designed for this. It handles the complexity by viewing the whole task not as code edits, but as a sequence of verifiable artifacts.
Artifacts.
Yeah. So the system itself, it manages the dependency graph, the state checkpoints. If one agent is building a test suite and another is writing an implementation plan, the manager makes sure they converge. It's a massive computational lift, but it's hidden from the user.
Okay, so the complexity is abstracted away by the manager.
Yeah.
What's the third piece? You said it was the most exciting one.
The third piece is the browser agent. And this is the clearest sign of Gemini 3's advanced power. It lets the agents, and I'm quoting here, actuate the browser in a very, very capable way.
Let's unpack that. Actuate the browser sounds like more than just scripting. Are we talking about the agent logging into a legacy system, navigating a clunky UI, maybe even dealing with two-factor authentication?
Precisely. All of that. That's what moves the platform from just being a coding tool to being a research and execution engine. The agent has to maintain state across pages, handle forms, and actually understand the intent of what's on the screen visually.
So it's using the whole suite of models then?
The whole suite. Gemini 3 Pro for the reasoning, and then the latest generative media models for, analyzing UI structures, generating screenshots, all of that. It's an integrated system.
This brings us to the philosophical pivot. I mean, we've been stuck thinking that AI should just help us with the code, but the sources say that writing code is a very small chunk of the job.
Maybe 20%.
Right. The rest is reviewing, testing, debugging, deploying.
And if you only focus on accelerating that 20%, you hit a hard diminishing limit really fast. To solve the truly hard problems, the agent can't operate in a narrow code silo.
Because the context is outside the code.
So context is key. An agent trying to make a big systematic change can't succeed just by reading the repo. It needs to understand the architecture.
Which is probably in a Google Doc somewhere.
Exactly. A design doc, or maybe a spreadsheet with test coverage goals. If the agent can't pull in that external human-written context, its changes will be incomplete or even damaging. That's a cornerstone of AGY's design.
This moves us into what the source calls the AI hierarchy of needs. We need to stop focusing only on the tactical building it part.
The real acceleration comes from helping answer the strategic questions. What should I build? And how should I build it? And those answers live outside the IDE. They live in product goals, user feedback, research.
So what are some of these non-code tasks that the agents can handle? The sources had some great examples for researchers.
Yeah, for a DeepMind researcher, the job is rarely just write this function.
Yeah.
It's things like, do research by reading and synthesizing a dozen academic papers, or look at huge bug reports and figure out the root cause. Firing off training jobs, kicking off evils, and then, and this is the big one, analyzing all that evaluation data. That's often the most time-consuming boilerplate part.
So the agent does the tedious data moving and procedure running, and the human focuses on the actual insights.
That's the idea.
And going back to that browser agent, what does that look like in a real-world scenario for, say, a QA engineer?
Okay, so instead of just checking if a button exists, the agent gets a task like this. Go to our search website, log in, filter for critical severity bugs from the last 48 hours, sort them by user impact, and generate a summary report with screenshots of the top 3.
Wow. Okay, so that requires understanding business logic, not just code.
It requires using the browser like an extremely capable, focused human.
That level of autonomy, especially the unsupervised part, brings us to collaboration. The sources say the unit of interaction has changed. We're moving away from just pull requests.
That's absolutely right. The main unit of interaction is now the artifact.
The artifact. Define that for me.
They're described as indivisible sort of tasks, verifiable units of work the agent is going through.
So instead of reviewing 500 lines of code, I'm reviewing what? What's a concrete example of an artifact?
It could be an implementation plan the agent generated after reading that design doc we mentioned, or a set of UI mockups, or even just the final proof of work, like a video of the agent successfully completing the task you gave it.
So we move past the line-by-line code review, especially for AI-generated code, which is just excruciating.
Exactly. You focus on verifying the outcome and the high-level plan. It's like checking the blueprint and the final working building, not inspecting every single weld.
That sounds way more efficient. But what about control? If an agent is running for 40 minutes unsupervised, how do I stop it from doing something I don't want it to do?
So AGUI uses something they call agent-assisted development. The user can actually specify the level of autonomy they're comfortable with.
You can dial it up or down.
You can. And what's more, the agent itself identifies high-risk decisions. So if it wants to install a new dependency, something that changes your local machine, it automatically comes back and asks for your permission before it does anything.
An intelligent escape hatch.
Right. And the feedback loop is different, too. It's not some synchronous chat that demands your attention right now.
It's asynchronous.
Totally. You can provide feedback just like you'd add comments on a Google Doc. The agent then figures out the right time to fold that feedback in. The anecdote they shared was that users can literally grab coffee and come back.
So you come back, review the work, tweak an artifact, and let it run for another 30 or 40 minutes without babysitting it.
Exactly. That's the long-running task model.
To do that, the state persistence must be on another level.
Yeah.
I mean, how does it maintain context over such long, multi-step tasks?
It uses a huge structured log of everything it's doing, but the key is that it's constantly updating and querying its internal context store. They call it the knowledge panel.
The knowledge panel. That's the self-improvement part. What kind of knowledge is it building?
So it's not just knowledge of the code base, it's building knowledge of your specific usage, your intent, your past decisions. It's like an extrinsic memory.
Give me an example.
Let's say you had a meeting last week and decided not to use a certain database for scalability reasons. That's not in the code anywhere. But the knowledge panel can retrieve that context from meeting notes or chat logs linked to the project.
So it learns the team's unspoken knowledge. It bridges the gap between the code and the actual human intent.
It's not just a file index, it's an intent index. That's a great way to put it.
With all this agentic orchestration happening, what does that mean for the IDE? Is the code editor going away?
No, not at all. The editor isn't going anywhere. Developers need that ultimate fine-grained control.
But our relationship with it must change.
Dramatically. The time you spend writing individual lines of code will just plummet. The editor becomes one of many work surfaces, alongside docs, sheets, review tools, and your main interface. It shifts completely. You stop obsessing over lines of code and start reviewing those high-level strategic artifacts.
The developer becomes the supervisor.
The supervisor of the implementation plan, yeah.
Let's talk strategy. This feels like it's built for huge, complex projects.
Okay.
Who is the target user for Antigravity?
The target is definitely the experienced developer on a complex, long-running project. The stated goal, which is pretty bold, is to make singular developers build entire companies.
Wow.
And internally, it's being hardened by DeepMind researchers on tasks that are way beyond what current coding assistants can do.
And externally, the focus is on large enterprises with the largest code bases. Why that specific focus? Why not everyone?
It's a classic Google strategy. You dog food against the hardest problems first. Google's own internal infrastructure, which is one of the biggest and most complex code bases in the world, is the main hardening environment. The thinking is, if it can work there, it can work anywhere.
So you raise the ceiling for the most experienced developers first.
Exactly. They explicitly mention avoiding the trap of trying to be great for everyone, because then you risk being great for no one.
Which clarifies the difference between AGY and something like AI Studio. They serve very different purposes.
Totally different. If you're doing what they call vibe coding, quickly spinning up an app with all the bells and whistles to prove a concept, AI Studio is perfect for that.
That's for rapid prototyping.
Right. Antigravity is the platform for continuous iteration, for adding features over a long period of time, for making those deep technical decisions.
AI Studio is the sprint, AGY is the marathon.
Perfect analogy. And they did say there's a planned path to move a project from AI Studio into AGY once it matures and needs that deeper level of management.
What's really fascinating is that the underlying models are so general. It means AGY can be used for more than just coding, right?
Oh, absolutely. The product is focused on developers to maximize impact, but the general intelligence is there. The sources mention an anecdote of someone using it to analyze complex sports stats.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like comparing Shohei Ohtani's pitching and hitting metrics against historical data. The models can handle complex analysis and orchestration in almost any domain.
And what about the name? Antigravity, AGY.
It's meant to convey no limits. The idea that your imagination is the only constraint, not the tactical work of writing code. And of course, the acronym AG is a little wink to AGI.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for us? Antigravity gives us multi-agent orchestration, browser actuation, long-running autonomous execution, all reviewed through artifacts. The human developer gets to step away from the keyboard and supervise.
And as the models get even better, we should expect totally new ways to interact with them. We went from ghost text autocomplete to chat and now to this artifact review system. The next step will be even faster and handle even more ambitious tasks.
Right. This platform seems designed to just slash the time we spend on the tactical building it part. If the agent handles the coding, the testing, the boilerplate, the developer's job shifts entirely to strategic oversight.
Really?
So here's our provocative thought for you to chew on today. If the tactical work is automated, the most valuable skills become mastering the how should I build it and what should I build questions. Given that, what is the single most valuable non-coding skill a future developer must possess to succeed in an AGY-powered world? Is it deep domain expertise? Is it complex system architecture visualization? Or is it maybe just the ability to write a perfectly clear, unambiguous prompt plan?